Well, hello, folks. What are we doing today? We are going to have a little look at our projects outside. We have the little Ruston and we have the Stuart Turner. Now then, you're all going to want to see that little Stuart genset done first. Nope. Afraid not. We're going to do the little Ruston first, because that little genset is quite an involved job. It's quite rough, and it basically needs a full strip down and rebuild. But I need to get it in the shed here before I can do that. And it's damned heavy. I can't lift it on my own. So I'm going to have to get some form of trolley made up, and then it can be wheeled in the shed down here and be done properly. The Ruston, however, I've got it on my little barrow outside, so we can get out there and have a look at that. And yeah, get some bits done on the little Ruston. Right, let's get on with it. And before we start, yes, I've got 2 more Tilly lamps. Now then, I want to ask you a question before we get on with this video. Do you guys enjoy my Tilly lamp videos? Do you like seeing me mess around with these videos, or these lamps, or do you go, oh, not another one on a stupid Tilly lamp? Because I am going to do this one. My mate David gave me this. It's been hanging in a shed for years, like many Tillys are. And we have another one here, which is in equally as bad a shape. This is not a Tilly. I think this is a different one. But either way, do you enjoy the videos of me doing these or not? Because I am going to do a full rebuild on one of these. I have the rebuild kits now. I'm waiting for some little brush cleaners to come so I can clean the evaporator tube, things like that. Would you be interested in a video on me fully stripping one of these and rebuilding it? If not, I won't bother filming it. I know it might get boring. If you'd like to see it, please put it in the comments. If you'd like to see me do a full strip and rebuild on a Tilly. That would be replacing every single seal, cup, washer, mantle, cleaning the evaporator, everything. If you don't want to see it, please say, and I won't waste my time recording it. Anyhow, let's get on with a little Ruston. So guys, we are now outside, and here's our little Ruston. So you've had a brief look at this. Some of you may have seen it on the Facebook groups when I was having a fattle with it at Petter Fest the other week. If you haven't seen that, don't worry, you haven't missed a lot. I just did get this thing running after years and years and years of sitting around, not doing anything, making a piece of HT lead up out of a bit of 12-volt cable I found in the van, cleaning the points. Actually got this thing running on a rally. I didn't personally video it because I thought, I was too impatient. We have many other jobs to do though, including we have got to replace this plate around this side, which is there. There it is. So that plate is okay. But we need to make another piece of this. Because this is what holds the plate on. It like sandwiches. This goes inside the water hopper. And it like pulls this in. And that's basically how you clean your hopper out. Let me bring you around this side so you can actually see where that goes. There you go. You can see down the bottom, that plate comes in there, look. Do you see what I mean? That way around, actually. So that plate comes in there, and there's a bolt go through. This goes on the back, and it sort of clamps it in. There you go. But that was off. So we do need to, I'm so pleased, because we didn't know this was here when I got the engine. It was actually, these 2 pieces were buried in the water hopper, covered in crap and muck. First thing we've got to do, talking of crap and muck, is get an airline out and blow out this water jacket. Look at that water jacket. Yeah, I don't think a lot of water is going to be circulating. Get my finger in there, look. Hello, finger. Yeah, yes, I don't think a lot of water's going to circulate in there with, well, this crap everywhere. So I think I'm going to get 150 psi on a long reach blowgun and blast that out of there. That can be our first job, I think. Alright, we're back out with a big airline. You know it's getting cold when I put the stupid hats on what I got the ears. You know? And it's cold today. I woke up this morning, it was about 3 degrees. I think it's about 5 now, but it's still damn cold. Anyhow, mind your eyes. Here we go. Oh, there. What the hell, man? Hell, look at all that crap. Look at all this. Jesus Christ. Oh, yes. Jesus. Yep. I think we have pretty much got this clean, guys. There we are. There we go. I think now we can be blowing off our bench. What the hell? What's that on there? Ain't a little oiler on there, is it? I've never seen an oiler on a fly. I look like a bit of a gib key, to be honest. Right. Let's have a look in our hopper now. You'll see it's much, much better. There we go. Look at that. Yep, cylinder is all clean. Let's get some light on. Yeah, I think we need to get some light on, don't you? So you guys can see in there. There you go. There's in our cylinder now. And isn't that much, much better? Water can now flow freely around that cylinder to cool this little engine, because before there wouldn't have been any water flow whatsoever. Right, I think next job, I think I'm going to take this distributor cap off, because we need to put a longer lead on, because we can't really use it with a bit of wire, can we? Let me get a screwdriver. Alright guys, here we are. Pick tool just to clean out these screw heads, because they are quite bad. But I'm hoping they will come undone. So I'm just going to get my little pick tool and clean them out. Give them a little blow. What? There's a fresh load of crap got down there. Whoa. We're getting slightly ahead of ourselves here, aren't we? We're not doing that. Alright. Oh yes, they're coming undone, look. I couldn't believe I got this little engine back to my show, or back to my display, should I say. And you know, I thought this little thing turned over with compression. I reckon clean the points up and that might go. And it did. Well, that's actually not bad in here at all. I have seen a lot worse. Right, we need to get this in the shed, give this a slight clean up, and yeah, replace that HT lead. That's a little bench top job. Right guys, here's our cap on the bench. Now then, to replace these, we undo this screw and this wire pulls out. I believe that's a screw with a point on, so you don't need to strip your new HT lead. I think you just put it in, screw it in, and that drive into the core, I believe. We'll have a look. So being careful, because these are Bakelite, so you don't want to go force these, because you'll crack them, break them, and then, well, you've got no chance but to get another one. My hole, there you go. Right, here's our screw, and if you look, it's got a point, so you don't strip your HT lead, you drive it in, and that pierces the HT lead going into the core. So that's good. So that should now just pull out. There you go. See, this HT lead is not stripped. So yeah, it just drives. There's the hole. The screw just drives into the core. HT lead, well, that's too short to do anything with. So I'll get a new piece of HT lead. I have lots of it. Here we go. Now we need a bit about as long as I'd made it with that wire on. There we are. Right, how long was that again? Sorry, I just had to stop while I got my side cutters. Alright, we'll leave an inch. We can always trim a little bit off. I'd rather it too long, than too short. So we'll come there. There we go. Before we put this in, I'm going to clean that cap up a little. I think I'm going to use a little bit of, this is just normal household spray and a bit of wire wool, that. And that is going to be nothing more technical than that. So I'm not going to restore this engine. It certainly is not going to be painted. That would be absolutely criminal in my opinion. But I do want it clean. Like within an inch of its life clean. So that'll be removing loose rust. So we can basically give this thing an oily rag up. That's really all it needs, is a good oily rag up. And it'll be absolutely beautiful. There we go. Right, and let's get our cleanest dirty rag and just get that a wipe up. Now, some of you guys, there are different types of engine guys. There really are. You get the painters, or you get the restorers, the painters, the originals, and the working clothes. Are your sort of 4 departments I always associate. Now, your restorers do strip everything, even regardless, even on a good running engine. They'll pull it totally to pieces, rebuild it with new piston rings and all them bits and pieces. They will totally go through an engine, new white metal parts, to make it basically perfect. There we go. Then you get your other restorers that if the engine's running all right, they'll just disassemble it and then they'll repaint them and then reassemble so they basically come out like new again. Then you get the people like me who likes to keep the engine as original as I can. And when I say original as I can, I mean as original as when I got the engine. So when I get the engine, like this little Ruston, you know, yes, it's got a different fuel tap in it, stuff like that, but it's mainly original. Paint's original. Now, I will just clean and try and get it running. There you go, that's on. And if I get it running, I tend to leave it. You know, so there are your different types of people, but I do tend to clean mine. And then you get the people who don't clean them even. As long as they run, they'll service them and make sure they're sort of mechanically good. But they won't even clean the grime off. And I tend to clean the grime off. So there, that's that done. Right, next job. Well, guys, we've got the cap done, stripped the wire. That's up there out the way. Next job is make this piece. That bit is all right, but we just need to make up this piece that go in the back. I've had a look in my scrap stock. I've got some bar stock here. Quite nice stuff. And I believe, yeah, that's about the right width, look. There we go. So we need to cut a piece of that off. We'll use this good end. We'll cut a piece of that off in the bandsaw. I'm going to allow for a little bit of corrosion, so I'm going to make it a tiny bit longer. There you go. We'll put a scratch on there. I'll get that in the bandsaw. Get this piece cut off. So, this has been dressed in our bench grinder just to, well, get it a little bit better. Little bit deeper, that's the word. Right, we need to measure dead centre of this. Let me get on my eyewear. We need to measure dead centre of this and get a hole in here so we can put in a hole. So we are 66 millimetres we are, guys. So half of 66 is 33. So if we drill a hole here at 33 millimetres in, we're not going to be too far away, are we? Have I got centre punch? I have. If I can damn well find it. Right. There's my centre punch. This gives me an excuse to use, oh, crikey, to use that. Picked that up the other day. My mate David was going to put it in his scrap bin. I said, David, can I have that? I think this damn thing weighs 15 kilos. Cool. She's heavy. Solid block of steel. I thought, what a perfect bench anvil this is. So let me come dead centre here. We'll measure up our 33 mil, which is there. So we'll scribe that. There we go. Just do our measurement check. 33. Then we'll come midway of this. This is 25, so we want basically 12. There's our scribe mark. Straight down the middle, which gives us our centre point, which is about here. There we go. There. That has give us a nice centre punch in there, so we can now get a drill through that. Aha! A little bit of cotton oil. This is just a pilot hole. Oh, yes. Straight through, look. There we go. Knife through butter, guys. Excellent. All right, let's get a hole tapped through here. So we want the M10. We'll use my good old 10 bits. There we go. I know you're going to say, that shouldn't have a metric thread. That's an old engine. Look. I'm aware of this. If anybody is going to get down on their hands and knees and have a look and say, well, that's a metric bolt in there. Really, you're going to be that fussy? There we go. Let's get this whole girl started. These are a nice set of taps, actually. They actually virtually centre themselves. You don't have to worry about them going in on the kilter or counter, whatever you want to call it, because they are pretty good at going in on their own and going in straight. All right. Want a little bit of cotton oil on here, I believe. There we go. Oh, that's going in there a treat. We're just about through, guys. There we go. That's our M10 hole drilled through there. Look at that. So if you're after a good set of modern taps and dies, don't go for that Chinese crap on eBay, because you won't cut one thread with it. Now the engineers are going to say, oh yes, you want this make, this make. Well, for home use, I got this Tang set and it's brilliant. You've seen how it's just gone through this piece of plate. You know, it's just gnawed a thread straight through that. So, and I've done several threads like that, and I've never had any of them fail on me, and I've certainly never had the machine fail. So yeah, little set of 10 gauges here, little set of 10 sort of. There's the model number. This is not an advert for Teng, by the way. I just love Teng tools. So yeah, nice little set of taps and dies if you want them. Excellent. And there we go, look. Straight through, guys. No problem at all. We've just wound a nice thread into this piece of bar. Excellent. I just got to hope now I got a long enough bolt to hold that plate on. There we go. I do believe we also need to make a gasket. Alright, let's get a gasket tapped out. Oh yes. Oh yes. There we go. There we are. One gasket. There we go. I forgot the hole, didn't I? We forgot to put the hole in the middle, guys. Standard ball bearing. There's your hole. Excellent. So next job is just to put some instant gasket. Oh no, my gasket sealer has possibly gone off. So the next job was a little bit of instant gasket. Just to stick our gasket on the inside of this plate. Getting plenty around the outside. Because let's face it, that's only going to really leak where it goes around the outside. So what's in the middle there don't really matter too much. There we go. Stick our gasket on. Alright, we'll line this up to the engine. Making sure I've got the right length bolt. Then we can put the sealer on this side. Yep, we can get the sealer on this side and get that back on the engine. Well guys, we're back outside. The little plate, I have nipped it down the bottom there. I've dropped it in there. You can see it through there. There we go. Held in with that screwdriver. So it's a bit fiddly and you aren't going to see too much, but I've got to manipulate our plate in there, manipulate the bolt in, centre it all up and tighten the bolt up. Right, I need to put some more sealer on the outside of this. There we go. Well, that just took far longer than it ever should have done. But we're in, so we can now I got a little bit of tension. We can now centre our plate up. I think we're about right. And we can tighten it down a bit. There we are. There we go. I think that's our plate on and tightened. I'll just get any excess sealer off. We don't want that sealer showing on the engine, do we? So we'll just wipe that sealer off. There you go. There we are. There we go, guys. There we go. That's our plate back on, so this should now be watertight. But next thing we're going to do is put the cap back on. There we go. Let's get our cap back on. Just bend him down a little so we got a bit of tension on this knobbler, because he needs a little bit of tension on the knobbler. There we are. Once you can feel a little bit of tension, she won't be far out. Don't over tighten these guys, because remember, it's just Bakelite. Then we manipulate our plug lead to come round there. There we are, look. Absolutely brilliant. That could have been a little bit shorter, but we got that one on there. Right, what are we going to do now on the old girl? Blow some muck off. Well, I think I will just show you guys how clean it is in these points, because you wouldn't believe how clean it is in this points cover. Yeah, look in there, guys. Just have a look how nice that is in them points. There we go, look at that. And I have cleaned them points, but yeah, we need to put a little bit of oil, light oil, on this wick. Saying that, there is still oil on that, I can feel it, would you believe it? We will just replace that though. There we go, I'll just come in here. It don't want a lot, you certainly don't want to saturate it. Just a little drip of oil around that pad, because it don't want to be so much where it's going to come up and get all on your points. So just enough so when that cam comes round, it touches on that. It touches on that and it just gives a little bit of lubrication. That is pretty spot on. There you go. Yeah, that's no touching on that, and that'll just come round and lubricate where them points go. So I'm happy with that. All right, I'm just going to clean this cover up in the shed, put it back on. Right, quick question. This fuel tank, alright, let me get you out. This fuel tank has got the wrong tap on, and that's clearly going to leak like hell. The strap is broke, so that comes across there. So I've got one or two things I can be doing here. I like this tank because it's got the original cap and the original brass gauze. Right, but one thing I've noticed, that little crack, can that be welded? It can, but it's a bit of a mission, you know, and you're going to see it's been welded. So my options here are, take both the nuts off, bolts out, sorry, put some rusty washers under them, and put them back so that holds on with a rusty washer. Or, let's come in the shed. Or I have another Ruston PB tank with a little bit of transfer still left on it, with 2 good brackets, and I need to work out, am I going to, do I use this tank on that engine, sort of clean this tank up and use it? Oh my word, look coming out of it. Okay. Yep, she would need a good clean up. So do I use this tank, guys? Or do I just take this tap out and use the tank what's on there? So that's going to be another question for this video. Use this tank or use the original tank? Saying that, that's weird, because when that sits on the engine, these brackets are going to be the wrong side. Because our tap, I'm sure this is a Ruston PB tank, I'm sure it is. Either way, that tap is definitely the right one. So do we use this tank? Oh yeah, of course it goes on like that, don't it? And then, yeah, of course it does. And then the petrol tap, yeah, all right. Yeah, so use this tank or reuse the original and just hold it on with some washers. So our next job, we're going to let the oil out the old girl, because she's got 50-year-old oil in there at the minute. Now I'm not going to undo the little bung, I'm going to take the whole plate off, simply because I want to clean it all up and desludge the sump. I do not want to run this engine on the oil what's in there. Way up there. So if I take the little plate off, oh, old oil, do you know, that oil was coming out there is pretty damn clean. Look at that. You'd think, do you even really need to change it? Look at that. There ain't 3 bolts hold that on, is there? I think she wants a little tap. There we go. There we go. Oh, yes, that ain't so nice when you get into it, look. There we go. So we'll let all that old oil out, and then I can have a scrape about in there and try and rinse it out. Will my little tub wedge in there? Oh, it does wedge in there. Look at that. All right, I think we've got to leave that a few minutes to drain. Oh, yeah, we have some sludgy stuff. Now, I have got the engine tipped this way. Oh, look at that. I do have the engine tipped this way a little, and I can feel there's a decent slope in there. Sure, look how sludgy that oil is. This is why, guys, you need to do your oil changes. Look at that. Yeah, I think she's going to want a good rinse out with some diesel before we go putting fresh oil in. So if you'd have tried to get that out of that little old oil drain, that wouldn't have been very good, would it? No way was that going to pass through an oil drain hole. Ugh. Disgusting. Right. Let's let that drain a minute, and I'll rig away up to get some diesel in there. God damn me. Sludgy. Right, we'll get up there with my favourite stuff. Brake cleaner. There you go. That's just gonna that'll just upset everything what's in there. God damn me. I'm afraid this is the best access you've got to this. Unless we can take this little cover off here as well and get in there. Let's have a go. Ah, look at these nuts. Look, they all want cleaning. All these bolts, sorry. We might have a little bit more access if we come in here. Just to clean this crankcase out a little bit better than it is. Cool. Gosh, she don't want to come off in a hurry, do it, guys? There she comes. Come on. Ah, we busted our gasket. Yeah, we busted the gasket. Not to worry, we can soon make a new gasket. This is why I like to leave things original, because now we've got to mess around making a new gasket, and we just know you're going to see it. But there you go. All right. We'll come in here and have a poke about and get this sump well and truly cleaned out. Let me see if I've got a better brush we can get in there. I can see in there and it actually isn't too bad now, but I'd like it a bit cleaner. I would like it a bit cleaner. Let me be back when we've cleaned all that out. Well guys, we have cleaned all the ancillaries up, made new gaskets. I think we can get down here now. Cleaned up all around this casing, so I think we can come down and just put everything back together. There we go. We shan't use any gasket sealer because I'd rather not use that. I'd rather just use a thick gasket. So yeah, we'll put all this back together, guys, and see how it goes. Oh, hang on. I've got diesel in them holes. If you've ever got threads into a block and you're not sure if they're through holes or not, always blow them out after you've washed down, simply because the last thing you want is to drive a bolt in there and there's fluid in it, whether it be water, fuel, oil, because it'll just wind it in and compress it. And if you're not careful, you can actually split the metal it's going into. I've never known it to happen, but I've heard horror stories about how it has happened. People have split engine blocks by, you know, they've splitted engine blocks by not putting by not bolting them in right, by not blowing the holes out. There we go. We need our little drain bung back in. And I think we can get some oil in this. Do you know, I think that's going to rain. That's come over really dark, as you can probably see in the video. So, it might start to rain soon. which is going to be a nightmare. So we might have to finish this video up and put the oil in and go for a start next time, because I need to cover all this stuff back up. There we go. There's our plate. That's just our inspection cover. That gasket don't fit right that way. I had no idea that was a handed gasket, but there you go. Come on. Yep, I just felt a spit of rain, guys. Does it go this way up? Oh, yes, I had it on upside down. Because I didn't think that was all sitting right. There we go. Because I didn't think that was sitting right, guys. Now all is luck. So we can just tighten these back down. And I think we're going to call the video a day, because I can feel a few spits of rain. Before we go, you guys want to have a quick look around this Ruston generator, don't you? I just know you do. I just know you do, guys. Well, I'll let you have a look round the Ruston generator. There it is. You're going to say, why is it uncovered now and it weren't earlier? Well, crazy neighbour John come round and asked me what shite I'd been getting. And I said about this generator, and I'll uncover it so you can have a look. So there we go. There's our generator. I do like the throw switch. That is really good. Generator head. But this thing needs full restoration. Unfortunately, the engine has suffered with frost damage here. Look, there's a crack. Comes down here behind this nameplate. Along the bottom. And then up through here, look. That is a crying shame. But we've got to try and do something with that, guys. It'll be all right. It will be all right. Good thing is, we can take the cylinder off the engine, so I think this engine will have to come virtually to a lot of pieces anyhow, really, so I can check that that frost damage hasn't gone through into the cylinder. So yeah, we will have to lift this bore off, and then we can... I'm going to have a go at brazing. Buddy George is sorting me out with a little set of gas torches, so I can have a go at brazing them up. So yes, all good. But that is the Stuart. There is little Ruston. She's looking really good. You can see now she's been cleaned around that back end. How she looks quite nice indeed. We have the new HT lead all fitted. There we go. There's the details if anybody wants one. I did show you them before. But there we are. I think we're going to end this video right here because, well, look at that sky. Yeah, look at that sky. He's not looking too good, is he? We was blue when we start filming, but as you can see now, yeah, it's not so good. I think we are going to get a bit of rain. So that's it, guys. 2 lots of questions in this video. Number 1, do you want to see full rebuild and clean of the Tilly lamps? Or don't you want to bother that? I don't mind. I like recording videos, but if you're not going to watch it, no point filming it. And number 2, the Ruston. I don't think that fuel tank, what I had, this one right here, bracketry is somehow wrong. That's going to sit too high on the engine. The other strap sort of come up and out the top. so the tanks sit lower. So unfortunately, this tank might actually be for a PB8, not a PB6, which that little one is. So we can't use that, but I have took the tap out, and we've got a good functioning original Ruston tap here. So that will be going in that tank. So yes, great stuff. So I hope you agree that not painting that little Ruston is the right decision. That's the second question, to paint or not to paint. I think when they look like that, with all that original paint on, it's a bit of a shame to do away with 80 and 90 years of history. As my mate Richard said, that gold lettering on the back of that RH, on the back of the engine where it's gold, he said, some old boy went to work in the 1940s and he sat down one day and he painted the R&H out with a brush with gold paint. Who are we 70 years later, 80 years later? Who are we to go and alter it? Who are we to go and just paint over it? Anyhow, there are painters, there are restorers. There you go. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. See you next time. Enjoy your Sunday evening. Ah!